goals for today is to get this engine transmission made together, get it inside the engine bay. Last video I ran into a little problem, probably something I should have checked out beforehand. Yeah, the throwout bearing that, or clutch release bearing, whatever you want to call it, that came with the clutch kit doesn't work with the Escort, because the clutch kit's for a Miata, so why should it work? So I had to order another throwout bearing. Slightly different. The main reason why this one won't work is simply because, if you can see in there, it's pretty dark. It just won't fit around yeah, it just won't fit around the shaft here. So, but of course the Escort specific one works fine. So I'm just gonna get that on there. Hopefully this should go pretty smoothly. And then after I get the engine back inside the engine bay, I'm gonna take a break and clean up this garage because it's a freaking disaster. I mean, it's just a giant mess. And you know, I should probably clean up before moving on to the next step, but I'm just gonna make a mess again, so I might as well just roll around in my filth and clean up afterwards. I went ahead and did just a very thin coating of anti-seize inside of the throwout bearing there. Probably not necessary, but better safe than sorry. Back's gonna hate me later. That's not gonna work. I like about these things, they're not that heavy. Easy peasy. Alright, so tranny's on. This shaft is actually a jack shaft and it goes on the inside there and it attaches to the engine block. I just have it stuck in a transmission on this side right now because the differential, the planetary gears inside the differential are floating, and if you bang the transmission around hard enough, the gears will fall out of place. Then you gotta take the transmission apart and you gotta get in there and take the diff out and put the gears back in place and start all over again. So it's a really smart idea to always just leave one of the axles in. A lot of guys, especially if you've already broken an axle, you just take take your old broken axle and rip it apart, and you just keep the stub, just the part that goes into the transmission, and use that to keep the gears in place. Bolts go in there. The point of the jack shaft is to effectively give you equal length axles Otherwise, you'd have a really short axle on one side and a really long axle on the other one. And with the long axle on the other one, you're going to get more deflection and twisting and stuff like that, and that will give you problems like wheel hop, and problems like torque steer. So a way to mitigate that, what engineers have done, is by implementing a jack shaft, which is just a shorter, thicker shaft that mounts to a solid point, in this case the engine block. And so this hard point effectively acts as what would normally be the differential. So you have you at least have some bracing. You won't have nearly as much deflection as you would if you just had one long axle. Trick I learned from the last time I did this was to just go ahead and attach the cable, the battery cable that goes to this top terminal on the solenoid. Just attach that on the bench instead of trying to attach this while the engine's inside the engine bay. It's kind of hard to get to. Either you do it on your back or you try and lean over the engine bay. Either way, it's kind of a pain. So a lot easier is to do it on the bench. That way you got your cable already connected. All you have to do is just slide on the little terminal. Alright, so after lots of cursing and swearing, got it in there. It's in there. So I don't think there's a problem there. So I'm gonna go take a breather, some water, and I'll maybe come back to this later tonight once the sun goes down and it cools off a little bit. It's one of the nice things about this time of year is that while it may be like 80 degrees in the daytime, it'll still be like 60, 60-ish at night. Nice cool breeze. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. So, see you in a few.